So I don't use the term Gestapo lightly. People say, oh, Donald Trump is like Hitler. Really? We need an insurance policy to keep Trump from getting elected.
Political response.
Alright, what's up, y'all? We got quite the compilation here. This is Congressman Louis Gohmert from Texas. He's put together a speech laying out kind of all the BS the FBI's been doing in recent years, and it's quite the compelling speech. I know I've covered some of the FBI stuff, and some of what they're doing scares me. Honestly, I get worried about doing some of these videos like this because I'm kind of afraid they might come after me too for blah 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 and on at the mouth like I do. But he rips into them pretty hard, and for good reason. So I'm gonna let him run with it, and I'm gonna kind of stay out of this one. But it's quite compelling. I'd watch it all the way through because it's some crazy crap what this guy says. So here we go.
Christopher Wray and Merrick Garland apparently don't understand the damage that they have done to the brand of the FBI and the DOJ. And for the Attorney General, knowing the Constitution and knowing this body's right of oversight and knowing that everybody inside and outside the Department of Justice has a constitutional right to talk to their member of Congress without going through Merrick Garland's screeners, and yet he orders that they don't have the constitutional rights they've got because he thinks his orders take precedence over the U.S. Constitution. And why wouldn't he think that? Because they have been giving orders that take precedence over the Constitution. And we hear comparisons. People say, oh, Donald Trump is like Hitler. Really? He wants more participation. He wants to have more rights back at the states. He wants to spread out the power of the government. And that the left thinks is like Hitler? No, that's not. But when you have a law enforcement, a so-called Justice Department that is using the exact same tactics as the Gestapo, then you need to understand your republic, or democratic republic as it's often referred to, because we elect representatives, but then have representatives represent as servants of the people. So it's a republic, democratically elected, but it's in jeopardy. And ours is, when the DOJ gets this powerful. Now, there were some that were extremely upset about what happened on 9/11, like all Americans were, but they were concerned about what they saw as infringements on liberty within a month after 9/11. And they've been talking about those for years now. But it has really come into focus in recent days as the FBI has knocked down doors, leaked information to media so that they're there to film people when they drag them out in their underwear. In cases, not even giving them a chance to put on clothes. Contrast that to the same treatment they would have gotten back in the 80s or 90s of telling them they need to report to the jail a certain day, certain time. So I don't use the term Gestapo lightly. And having felt this, that why is our Justice Department feeling like they got to be like the Gestapo? I greatly admired the F.b.i. when I saw the way they worked in the 80s and 90s, so professional. And then along came Mueller in 2001 as the new director of the FBI. And he started a policy that allowed the FBI to run off thousands and thousands and thousands of years of experience because he wanted nothing but young yes people working at the FBI. And so over the years, those people that would have said, excuse me, I know you think that's a good idea, but let me tell you what happened when we tried that before. Or let me tell you where that's going and why it's not a good idea. They didn't want those people in. If they wanted to go after a candidate like Donald Trump, they wanted people around them that would say, okay, here's how we can do it. We can do this secretly, and we can do this and that. Violates the Constitution. We don't care. We need an insurance policy to keep Trump from getting elected. And if he gets elected, we need to violate more rights, and we need to have people working for the Justice Department that will lie in an affidavit. I'm telling you, that's why when I saw the lack of response or appropriate response from the FISA court when they found out that the FBI, the DOJ lied to them and then kept filing for a warrant every 90 days, basing it back on a lie, those FISA judges should have been outraged. The Chief Justice across the street of our Supreme Court should have been outraged. And they weren't. And they really didn't do anything. I couldn't imagine them not calling a lawyer in and finding them in contempt because it was done in their presence and sending them to jail for 6 months before any criminal prosecution even took place, and then demanding that there be criminal prosecution. That didn't happen. So it tells you something about the FISA courts. We learned, I believe it was 2007, that the national security letters that give the FBI the ability to just send a letter, like a warrant, saying produce all the records you have on this individual, that individual. And by the way, it's a federal felony if you tell anybody that you got this letter. And the IG did an inspection and ultimately said, there are probably 3,000 or so national security letters that were sent out by the FBI when there was no case, there was no probable cause. They were just doing fishing expeditions. That's unconstitutional. And we would have hoped that got cleaned up, but we had an FBI director named Mueller that kept adding to the problem. And instead of punishing the FBI agent that fabricated a case against Ted Stevens, as Republican senator, the one that brought forward the fraud by the FBI, he gets run out of the FBI. And the one that was involved in the fraud got promotion, got a better job. So that tells you, even back not long after Mueller took over at the FBI, he was involved in intimidation. We know that William Jefferson was a criminal, committed a crime, and was punished as he should have been. But when the FBI under Mueller made clear, this is intimidation to Congress. You better not mess with me or counter me or have legitimate oversight over what I'm doing, or I may just come search your office. Well, they did. Never been done before that. But it was all about members of Congress concerned about what was happening at the FBI, abuses of our Constitution. So he shoves it right back in our face. It's intimidation. These are Gestapo type tactics. And there was an article that was written in the Eurasia Review back September 1 of this year, and it expressed the concern I have. It's entitled "The FBI's Gestapo Tactics, Hallmarks of an Authoritarian Regime." And it talks about, with every passing day, the United States government borrows yet another leaf from the Nazi Germany playbook. Secret police, secret courts, we have FISA, and I'm fine if we get rid of them. We had national secrets that were kept before FISA, but the abuses and the lack of concern about the abuses by the judges tell me we need to get rid of them. It says secret government agencies, surveillance, censorship, intimidation, harassment, torture, brutality, widespread corruption. And look, if that power's there and Republicans take over and put staunch conservatives in there, we still would need very, very stringent oversight so that nobody did that to the Democrats. When it happens to one side, it should concern everybody. I got really upset when I found out about the abuses of the national security letter, and that was under the Bush administration. And I was calling it out. I was angry about it. And I'm not hearing any Democrats concerned about the abuses of the Constitution that have gone on, the intimidation, that borrowing pages directly from the Gestapo. This is how you intimidate people. Well, this is very serious.
Yeah, so when you put all that together, it kind of makes you wonder, what's really going on with the FBI and the Department of Justice. Something really needs to change about this, and hopefully coming up here in the midterms where we can take back the House and the Senate and we can get some of this corruption rooted out. And I just hope that these Republicans that's coming in are really about what they're talking about and really trying to get some of this corrupt stuff out of here, because it really needs to go. It's really doing a number on the country, and we can't take much more of this crap. But thanks for watching. I know y'all didn't get to see me a whole lot, but maybe that's a good thing, maybe not, I don't know yet. But thanks for watching, and be positive. Peace.